2.9. So to get in this field is what Gabriel Andino and Nate Saylor both want to try to do here, is both of these cars, because they're hitting leadoff in this 80-car field, means that they have not made full runs down the racetrack, nor anything close to it. Andino's guys trying to line him up down there, and he's a little bit deep in the beams, and they're going to bring him ahead. Meanwhile, Saylor is looking like he's ready to go in that beautiful GT500 Shelby Cobra.
Yeah, Nate Saylor, brand new car, tested down here this week. And I saw him posting on social media. Looked like he made some great runs and said, we've got a hot rod, but it has not come together so far this weekend in qualifying. So look for him to make an improvement here.
So 362.9 to make the field. Strategically, if you can get yourself within a couple of hundredths of that number and have yourself set up to make a run tonight, could be the move. Both cars are clean, no tire shake. They're going to make full pulls. A 368 for Saylor, a 371 at 201 for Andino. The best runs they have made. Saylor goes to the 42nd spot, Andino 56, but that is forward progress.
It is. I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about. It's probably a little bit behind where you're going to need to be, but for someone that, as we said, has struggled to this point, that's what you need for data to set yourself up for this evening.
So Mike Decker the third and Lyle Barnett will be the next pair, and this is kind of an intramural battle here.
It is. So I don't know if you're following on social media, but Lyle, with his new Right Mower sponsorship, made a video where he was using the Right Mower to mow over a lot of his competition, and Mike Decker the third took exception to that.
Yes, he did, and so the Lyle Barnett has earned the honor of Decker's ire here in this third round of qualifying. Barnett's best elapsed time right now is 14 seconds.
That's not very great. Barnett-ish.
They had electrical problems with the car in qualifying session 1. They went back, thrashed on it. They thought they had it fixed. And the second he let go of the button in qualifying session 2, the car shut off and barely carried enough momentum to go an eighth of a mile silently. Mike Decker has run 4:39.
Yeah, I actually caught up with Lyle and his dad, Mark, at the Mark Williams Racer Party yesterday evening, and they're just fighting gremlins in this car. Electrical gremlins, mechanical stuff, just having some weird things happen that are kind of derailing their weekend so far. But when this car gets its act together, you got Lyle behind the wheel, this is a car that can go rounds, as we've seen in the Winter Series. Yeah,
unlike the last two cars, which are good cars, these are two machines that could, in theory, come right off of the jump here and put themselves in the field. I think strategically, these guys are not trying to lay up. They are trying to run 61 or better, especially because they have the environment to do it this morning.
And, you know, a little extra bragging rights on the line.
Oh, and of course you got that.
Yeah. Some social media clout.
Yesterday's big match race was the Taylor-Jackson battle, and Taylor apparently broke a valve spring when he launched. That's what caused the mechanical issue for him, and Stevie ran down almost unopposed. So that one worked well for the aggressor. We're going to find out if Barnett has made the right decision here. Oh, Decker is going to be left in the weeds, and Barnett is still not going to finish a run. 385 at 157, off early. He was out on Decker, but that was bizarre.
Yeah, he was in 921, 60 foot, 245, 330, you know, not setting the world on fire, but certainly enough to improve and be where he needs to be to get data for today. But it just, I don't know, something a little past the 330. Something the car clicked off, or he
it looked a little like raw fuel, and then all of a sudden he shut it off. And then on Decker's side of it, he was 909 to 60 feet. So that thing had the guts early to get the job done, but it started to move to the left, and he had to shut it off.
Yeah, probably too much early in that situation.
And so this is how the cookie crumbles for these guys. They're going to be down to their last attempt. There is one more qualifying session left. That'll be the final thing that happens this afternoon. About 6 p.m. is when the final qualifying session for Pro Mod will come up. Those are two guys you probably would have put on a relatively short list to be contenders for the Elite $1 million bonus. We talk about these racers that have the opportunity to win $1 million over the course of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, and the only way to win it is to sweep all three races. Those are cars that can do it when they're right.
Yeah, and it's with this field of cars, how can you even predict how this is going to go? Really, I don't think we can get a bearing on favorites for this or how this whole series is going to play out until after this weekend. We've talked about the Elite Motorsports Million and how it's been awesome leading up to this event, but can you imagine the hype, the pressure, everything we're going to see after this first event?
Oh, absolutely.
Because whoever wins it is going to have the opportunity to come and follow it up and maybe get two legs out of the three. And if that would happen, and then we'd go into the World Series of Pro Mod with someone having a legitimate shot at winning that, it would be just absolute pandemonium.
It would be pandemonium. It would be pandemonium all the way up until the very last run of the very last race. And to me, the thing that makes this even more interesting is the spread of these races, meaning that obviously we're competing here in December. We don't come back until the latter part of January for the next one. So there's plenty of time for people to continue to test, which is something are you going to test for off-season races? Yeah, you're going to. If you're the guy who wins this race, you bet your bottom dollar you are.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to keep parts in circulation all winter. And one of those that has done that up to this point, we're looking at right now, Jimmy Taylor.
Yes.
In the Carl Stevens tuned machine. This is the car that everyone has their eyes on. And I cannot wait to see what they pull up here and do. We've got to see this car make a full pull under power
Yes.
and see what this thing is capable of, because we've seen all the internet talk, all the testing numbers, exhibition numbers, whatever. I mean, the guy set the world on fire, but can he make that happen here in competition on the biggest stage? And that remains to be seen.
Yeah, no one's been quicker in the 8th mile. No one's been faster in the 8th mile in a door car. No one's been quicker or faster in the quarter mile in a door car, and that was in complete full-on Outlaw trim, as Outlaw as you can get it, right? I mean, it was, although they did say, I was surprised the turbo size, they were big turbos on the thing, but they weren't some giant 100-millimeter jobs. I mean, they were, what, 94s?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So, honestly, the closer it got to our rule set, the more nervous that we all became.
That makes sense.
I wanted to hear the thing weighed like 2,200 pounds and
right.
had giant turbos and who knows what else. But, I mean, this thing, it's struck fear in the hearts of a lot of these competitors coming into this event. When he was out there doing that, we heard our phone was ringing off the hook.
Bet.
What are you
going to do?
What are you going to do? You got to do something. This guy's going to come down there and just blow everybody out of the water. And he certainly has the ability to do that from what we've seen, but it hasn't happened yet. And that's kind of what we told everyone is we've got to see it on our track surface and our conditions with our rule set and all the factors that go into this event. Then we can start to look and see what's going on. But as we've talked about, it just hasn't played out that way yet.
Yeah, the preemptive strike never really works out in anybody's favor. As the starting line crew's doing a little work in the box down there, that would be where the infrareds are for the staging beams. We're getting elapsed times that, by all appearances, are accurate, but maybe there was something going on down there that they didn't like. It'll be Andrew Handress, one of the nitrous cars, in the lane next to Jimmy Taylor. Box lid's going down. That means they're going to be firing up race cars, I do believe. Crew certainly got put through their paces yesterday. At the open of the show, you saw Courtney Enders and Wes Buck kind of roll through some of the moments, especially the big wreckage that we had last night. But earlier in the day, we had an oil down that started at about 250 feet and went clear to the turnout. Then they had to scrape the entire length of the track as well. So those guys earned their keep yesterday.
Hoping for a smoother day.
Yeah. And there it is. This right here is Andrew Handress. Taylor has completed his burnout.
Handress, one of these guys carrying the flag for nitrous racing, as we've talked about, with Halsey, losing Halsey last night to that accident. That really turns the tables as far as what we're going to see from these nitrous cars. Halsey, is known to lead the field.
Well, look, the guy was qualified, he was qualified fourth going that session. Maybe he was whatever he was, 9th or 10th when the wreck happened. So yeah, that was a way upper half car. That was a premier car so far in the event.
Looks like we've cut Handress off over here, and they're under the car looking at it. Randy Lee, the starter, giving him the old knife chop, or neck chop.
Yeah, the neck chop.
Maneuver there, cutting him off. So, again, another nitrous car down that we're not going to get to see what they're capable of as we get a good look at Jimmy Taylor.
And they, too, will be down to their last attempt this evening, and they are default 32-second elapsed time at this point, so they have not finished runs either. All eyes on Taylor now, appropriately enough.
Yeah, he's got the stage all to himself. Let's see what he can do.
It would be a tremendous turn of events if this thing went into Q4 unqualified. It seems almost incalculably strange that would happen. And they are going to put the screws to it here. And Taylor goes down 356.7, 223 miles an hour. We talked about a couple of cars that aren't going to be messing around. He goes from the outhouse almost to the penthouse, number 2.
Yeah, all the way to number 2, 223.36 miles per hour today. Let's watch this thing again. It looked good. Once he made it right here past the Christmas tree, you knew it was on.
And look at it kind of carry the front end a little bit to the 330. That thing is powering its way to the stripe. And you have to wonder now, we talked about all this stuff, the fear that was struck into the hearts of so many coming into this event. the mental side of this sport is a huge thing that we can't see, and those guys just sent a message.
Yeah, they did. That thing is so violent, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it leaves decent, and then right past the tree before the 330, you could just hear the thing just pounding.
Yes.
And
Wow.
it's, just everything in it wanting to break loose, held together that time and made a full pull. I want to give a shout out there. I saw Rick Horde walking off the starting line, congratulating the Carl Stevens team. We talked about the Elite Motorsports Million. How about the Jerry Bickle? The offer that Jerry Bickle has on the table, where if someone qualifies number 1 at all 3 of these events, then they get a free pro mod from Jerry Bickle race cars.
And again, it speaks to a couple of things. One, it speaks to those guys who want to support the racers, but it also speaks to the incredible difficulty of not just simply winning the thing, but being a number 1 qualifier here. And there was a point in time where if you made that bet, Mark Mickey was going to be walking out of here with a free race car.
Last year.
Yeah.
Mark jokes that he's just a year too late for that. And he wants to know where that was last year when he qualified number 1. I think Mark actually dating back pre-Winter Series to Snowbirds and U.S. Street and World Series before they were tied together, had a string of number 1 qualifiers as well.
It was like 5 or 6 in a row.
Right. So maybe he can still do that. But obviously the competition, everything that's going on, everyone has now stepped up their game and made that much more difficult. But I do think that is a more attainable goal, obviously, than the Elite Motorsports Million and winning that. And the prize structure is structured accordingly for that. But still, for someone to get a literally free rolling pro mod from Jerry Bickle race cars, that's kind of an unheard of in this space.
It absolutely is. It is a bold offer, and it's one that if somebody's able to pull off, they have absolutely earned. And if it happened to be Mickey, I know he has a southern residence now, but if it happened to be him, he could basically flat tow the thing back to his house.
He could.
We drive tech. We drive the industry. Going beyond the limits and advancing forward. A versatile all-in-one solution. We're here for you every step of the way. And that's why you see fuel tech everywhere.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
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 Formulated to win, proven by me.
Unleash the power of performance with the Edelbrock Group. For over 85 years, our legendary brands have been trusted by automotive enthusiasts around the world. From street performance to racing, our innovative solutions, engineering, and testing deliver unmatched power, precision, and reliability. Proudly manufactured in our 7 facilities across the U.S., we stand by the quality of our craftsmanship. The Edelbrock Group, where passion meets performance.
We drive tech. We drive the industry. Going beyond the limits and advancing forward. A versatile all-in-one solution. We're here for you every step of the way. And that's why you see fuel tech everywhere.
Flying A Motorsports, #1 in toter homes and trailers in the USA. We offer an unbeatable selection of new and used race car trailers, stackers, car haulers, toters, and motorhomes. Ready for an upgrade to your current trailer? We accept trade-ins and consignments. We offer nationwide delivery right to your doorstep or factory pickup. Check out our inventory at flyingamotorsports.com. Flying A Motorsports, built on trust since 1988.
Bradenton Motorsports Park. It is the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals Pro Mod qualifying session 3. The cleanup has been completed in the left lane. Thankfully, it wasn't too huge a job, but as always, they do a very thorough job here, and that's why we're seeing cars pulling 60-foot times at like 9:09 and 9 teens. I mean, we've seen some really brutal early numbers.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's been in the 8s yet, right?
No one's made it that far yet, but by the end of the day, I think we're going to see it. I mean, we've seen so many low, 9/10 of a second 60-foot times. It's been ridiculous. As you can see, this shot is great because you can see all the improvements that they've done here in the racetrack. The entrance road is one of the biggest ones. It was sometimes a little hairy in the mornings trying to get in here with traffic trying to weave kind of around each other, but now that they built almost a second drag strip next to the drag strip.
It's very nice. New fence. They had that area with all the storms. I think they had those hurricanes come through. The track got flooded and everything. Lost like half that road. So, yeah, much better. This place is steadily, every time we come here, the BMP team is making improvements.
Isaiah Rojas coming up now, the MechTech College Corvette. And across the racetrack from Rojas will be Luis De Leon. International flavor, baby. We got Puerto Rico taking on Brazil right now.
Yeah, we talked about that last night. You just never know what combination you're going to get up here. We got street outlaws, we got veteran racers, rookies, and the international flavor is always strong here.
Rojas has been shaking the tires on this car, which has been endemic to some of the other competitors out here. And again, the level of aggression you have to attack this starting line with because of simply how good it is, how much traffic it sees over the week, and the fact that we have both radio classes and big tire classes here. You really have to hit this thing in a slightly different way than you would other racetracks. It's just so good. Yeah,
interesting situation here. Just looking at the numbers from yesterday, Luis De Leon, he kind of is the marker of where this thing drops off significantly. So 379 with a 2 yesterday. I mean, I'd still put that in, like we're making progress down the track, and then it drops all the way to a 4 flat, then a 409, which is at this point, you're having big issues. So
that ain't cutting it.
I'd look for, like you said, I think Luis is on a better track right now than Isaiah, so I'd look for him to make an improvement.
We'll find out if he can pick up what will need to be a 362.9 still, as we had a couple of cars at that 62.9 mark. Lee's been kicked out, but Stan Shelton's on the bump now at 62.9 because of the run Taylor made to get in the field. And Lewis had to lift. Meanwhile, Rojas goes 364.9 at 206. They're on the doorstep.
Yeah, that played out exactly the opposite of what I said.
Yeah.
A large jump there for Isaiah. So great to see those guys get that thing figured out. Really just nothing on the right side. 60 foot was off. Reaction time was way off something. He just immediately drove right.
Man, and you mean immediately. I mean, the second he let go of the button, it just rotated.
Could have even been pointed that way.
Yeah. So for Lewis will be down, De Leon will be down to his last shot with a Hail Mary pass. Meanwhile, Rojas has gotten himself within a couple of hundreds, so they're going to just have to pick away with what they got to find out when and where the bump spot sits in qualifying session 4. Jacob McNeil coming up right now, the Hemi Orange, Hemi Cuda, and Robert Cox. The Cox Trucking screw-blown Chevrolet Camaro out of the state of Michigan. Cox was a guy who found his way in the field with a 364 and then was summarily bumped out as the quicker cars went even quicker over the course of the night. McNeil still has some big work to do here.
Good shot of Wes clapping there. A lot of people talk about that. I'd like to give Wes a hard time with his clapping and excitement, but he's fired up, man.
He is fired up.
Works for all year. Good shot of Rob Cox's car. We were just going over the run order here. I think we were unexpectedly seeing Rob Cox come up earlier in the session due to where he was qualified, but I don't think he's going to complain too much. I think as the day is going on, track's getting hotter, more sun, more UV. this actually is favorable for him.
Yeah, there is a bit of an irony in that, whereas, most qualifying sessions, if you're the fast guy, you want to be at the back if it's later in the day, but like the radial classes at this time of the day, the earlier you get on it, the cooler it's going to be. Maybe the better it's going to be. Certainly more power available. Both drivers hanging on. McNeil's doing a bunch of driving. 364.2 at 199 for Cox. The car is very consistent within 2000s of last night. Doesn't make the field yet. McNeil goes to 367 at 201.
2 decent passes. Rob was on a better run than that. And right at the lights, something, I saw a flash out from under the bottom of the car and then some smoke. So something let go in Rob Cox's car right at the finish line. He still had a decent ET, but way down on mile per hour.
199 mile an hour speed as that thing is moving.
Couldn't see it there from the front shot. I thought I saw something.
I wonder if it might have kicked the burst panel out of it or something. And here comes Robin Roberts in his Pontiac Firebird-ish. Added the split grill there. Added the gills on the side, the Firebird logos. And Scott Palmer across the racetrack, the J&A Service Camaro. J&A Service, a big part of the Winter Series, and certainly the Whiteley family, a huge, huge part of the sport of drag racing.
Yeah, since day one, we haven't been able to do this whole deal without J&A Service, the Whiteley family. From our days back in Denver, that's really how we kicked off our relationship with these folks, because they're out that way with their oil and gas business and have supported our races from day one. And then when we moved to Bradenton and formed the Winter Series, they were on board just as strong as they were from day one. So big shout out to those guys. And then fielding, a host of cars this weekend as well. Got Corey Reed out here competing with Manny Bajinga. So really cool to see Scott Palmer also in this car. I can't really get used to seeing him in that car. I'm looking for that Corvette that he unfortunately took off the end of the track in the Strawberry Field last year. But this is top-notch equipment that he's in. So really cool to see Scott in this as well.
The Modern Racing drone shot here down at the starting line. Roberts, the Central Power Systems and Service Serio Pontiac. Roberts a very well-respected, kind of well-loved guy. Hard-nosed racer, too.
Yeah, absolutely. No one more loved than Scott Palmer.
No, this guy is, they line up to talk to this guy. He's as regular a guy as you're ever going to meet. In some respects. In others, he is irregular as you're ever going to find in humanity.
Yeah, we're going to have to define that before we start calling Scott Palmer regular.
If you run into him at a coffee shop, you think the guy was a truck driver, right? You run into him on a drag strip, you're going to have a different idea. Palmer has tire shake. Oh, Roberts, big trouble down there. Sounded like it did not shift into high gear.
Yeah, it just laid over. You could hear it laboring, and there she went.
There she went. We already have a spotter out there checking the 8th mile mark when it just started to funnel smoke. It looked like the smoke was coming out of the exhaust headers, which in the scheme of things, for personal reasons, I'll take all day as opposed to out from underneath the bottom of it.
100%.
But those guys are definitely going to have some work to do. We're going to get a look here at the Roberts run. There's a tire shake for Palmer.
Yeah, the car's just not going anywhere. You can even see in the slow-mo replay, it's just not accelerating, laid over, and then.
And you can also see where he lifted off. The thing actually wadded the tire up on deceleration because the thing had spun up so high. And I'm guessing it got a couple of pistons and probably at that RPM level was dead lean or the valve train issue or something. But it was singing a high C down there.
They'll have some work to do in the pits, but hopefully nothing catastrophic. They'll be back out here for the final round of qualifying, which they'll need. Where was he going into that session?
He was pretty far down. Yeah, he was 76th.
Our run order shuffled a little bit, so we're keeping up with these sheets.
Ed Thornton in the DBRD racing car on the left-hand side of the racetrack, and this, Eric Gustafson. So this qualifying session 3 order landed on their performance from qualifying session 2. Rather than where they sat coming into that session, it's where they are, what they ran kind of last night has placed them there. So Gustafson did not run that strong last night, hence his early appearance here in this session. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a solo for Thornton.
Let's say it sounds quiet out here.
Adam Flamos was supposed to be, at least on our run sheet, listed on the other side.
Yeah, speaking of Adam, I saw a post from him this morning on social media basically saying he's done for this event.
Oh, wow.
I'd have to pull it up to see if he said for the entire Winter Series. He said he came out here, tested, ran yesterday, and they've just realized that the car is not competitive in its current configuration. He's going to go back to the drawing board figure out what he needs to do. So I imagine we'll see him back out here for the U.S. Street Nationals.
Well, yeah, and look, I think it's a very respectable thing to do, just in the fact that it takes a lot of self-control to actually, as you know this, there's a lot of guys that show up to the racetrack with stuff they know won't be competitive, and yet they'll beat it to death trying to be competitive. And Adam's done this long enough to understand, like, hey, guys, we're better off going back, regrouping, and coming back out with something that can actually win rather than just killing the stuff that we have.
Well, the competition that we have and the number of cars, you just don't have that room. Well, yeah, so, and maybe I'll sneak into the field and be able to get in, to get this thing figured out while I'm here this weekend and go some rounds. There's just no room for that here. So smart move by Adam. We'll see him back out here.
So the starting line crew, it looked like they were switching the button or the switch that the starters use. They actually are working down there, from best I can tell. And so that's likely what slowed us down before, or had us pause for a moment. It looks like they are going to replace that switch down there. There's a great shot, actually, right down in the starting line. You can see those yellow cords and the blue box that's at the end. I'm wondering if what's going on down there is they may be having to double throw the switch or something like that to get the tree to activate. So once So it'll be just a moment here as the starting line staff gets their switch action repaired. Oh, Randy Lee's busting out a freshie. He just popped a fresh switch and cord right out of the bag.
Moving quick too, man. Got to keep the show on the road.
Listen, man, he's you know, he's slinging that knife around. Jamie thinks he's going to lose an eyeball. We don't need any casualties in this job. We just need a new switch.
He was leaning away, but his hand was still out there where he was cutting. So.
Randy was like Sling Blade down there. I don't know what he was doing with that thing. Those, you know, the stuff that gets used in the starting line, the switches and whatnot, they do get beat up, not just with the vibration and everything else, but occasionally they'll get, you know, something happens, they get tossed to the side, they hit the ground. So they do have a bit of a lifespan to them. So once that switch is replaced, it will be a solo for Ed Thornton out of California.
Just take a look at the starting line here. I see Vaughn Miles, car owner for Travis Harvey, out there doing the shoe twist, checking the track. Steve Petty, they're closing up the box. I was going to say the jib could probably get a great shot looking right down.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
See what's going on.
Jarrett's always on the gas with that thing. Fresh yellow cord installed. They're going to probably test fire the tree once or twice, and then it will be time to get back to it in qualifying session 3. They might have let West flip the switch. That might have been the problem.
Don't let him touch anything.
It could have been that could have been the issue.
If he's as fired up flipping that switch as he is about most everything else,
right.
He probably broke it off.
Snap the
thing clean.
Right off. All right, all appears to be copacetic on a starting line now, and great shot there, the 1970 Camaro. Hart's turbochargers on this car, as on many cars here this weekend. We talked yesterday on last night's broadcast about the Hart's Charger, the centrifugal supercharger war that has erupted now between Pro Charger and Hart's, and the benefit of all that stuff is always the fans, as Shane Tecklenburg says, all right, roll this baby over and fire it up. That's a fascinating guy to talk to.
Oh, yeah. You never know what you're going to get from him, but it's going to be entertaining and interesting. You talked about Hart's dipping their toe into the centrifugal arena. Same thing with the turbo. I mean, obviously that's where they started. So Hart's, Precision, the other turbo manufacturers, Hart's has really come in and been a disruptor in both of those fields.
So something has gone south for Thornton. I do not know what it is, but judging by the body language of Tecklenburg, it is
Shane, well, you could see him kind of grab his head, and like he was thinking, and then he said, hold on, stopped, went and flipped the power switch again. He's trying to diagnose this thing right here on the starting line and figure it out.
Okay,
if there's anybody that could do that, it's him.
So not only was it the starting line switch that needed to be replaced, they also needed to cycle the power through the Pro Mod to get it happy again.
That was wild to see. It was like in real time. You could see him trying to figure out how can I save this pass, and it looks like he may have done it.
So we have been told that Robin Roberts and Scott Palmer will be at the tail end of this session. There was a timing system issue on their particular run, so in order to make sure everybody's got a fair shot at it, hopefully Roberts can make it back for that after all the smoke we saw out of the exhaust. Man, it's a good thing they got that car started. Thornton, though, goes 383.5 at 171. It was trucking out there. The short time was 9:75. It was 2:53 to the split, and that's when the nose was kind of hanging out there and moved to the inside. He clicked it, but they have certainly got something working for themselves now.
Yeah, and that's why you want to make that pass. You want to save it if at all costs, because you need that data, even if it's only 60 feet, 330 feet, to try to have any shot for this evening.
Get a look now. Yeah, watch the front end. This is look at this. Yeah, it went into hovercraft mode at about the 330 out there.
Didn't look like anything was wrong.
No.
Just maybe the plan after all the issues on the starting line was to just get it down through there, get that data.
Yeah, the butt compass was telling him that he was off course. I think it was the deal there. Eric Gustafson, the Coast Packing Company Viva Camaro, a car that, we talk about cars that were early adopters of things. When ProCharger really came in strong to Pro Mod racing, especially in the NMCA side of things, Gustafson's car was one of the first that really was on the leading edge of that with Jason Lee, and he went on to win a championship, I believe, in the first season that he raced this car in the NMCA. So, these guys have been at it for some time, and they certainly have a great program.
Yeah, it came out yesterday, and just off the trailer, 357, won that Pro Line off the trailer bonus by doing that, $5,000. Which happened much quicker than anyone expected. That was supposed to be a Friday thing. Happened yesterday morning. Really unexpected. This team has always run well. Actually, I'd have to check the weight sheets. I haven't even gotten with John Sears to see what combination this team is running this weekend. But as we talked about yesterday, typically run a 5-speed Liberty lockup converter, a different driveline setup than a lot of these pro-charged and hard-charged cars will run. And we actually took a little bit of weight off that combination coming into this year because they were getting like double penalized with the 5-speed, with the lockup. So we took away one of those penalties, and I think it showed.
And Gustafson's car rattled the tires immediately, made almost a very similar move to what we saw De Leon's car make, where it made that immediate kind of shift outside, I guess, of the lane.
These lanes are interesting, too. I mean, I don't have a ton of data or anything, but just watching these cars and talking to some of the teams, it's like the right lane starts out really good during the session or in the morning or at night, and then it's like it flips over to the left.
Okay.
And then it'll go back to there's a dance that these two starting line, the starting line in both lanes will do throughout the day, depending on weather, shade, amount of traffic on the lanes.
It's interesting.
So I think you could see some of that playing out as we get more traffic through this session.
And the other neat thing is so many of these crew chiefs have so many runs at this particular facility. The depth of knowledge they have about the stuff you're talking about right now is probably deeper than almost anywhere else. The fact that they really know the personality of this place on an hour-by-hour basis.
Well, you had guys that ran these events prior to the Winter Series that had data coming in. I think of guys like Ken Q, Mark Mickey, that maybe we saw early on have success. But now you've got all these teams making 3 appearances down here every season, and that logbook is just getting thicker and thicker and thicker for all these teams. And so those early teams that competed here before the Winter Series, I think no longer have that advantage.
Yeah, Cretuccio for years ran Outlaw 632 down here with Jamie Miller and that orange Camaro that he had with the white rally stripes. And so yeah, the accumulated history that Ken has down here, we talked about a lot last year with his successes. Ethan Steady. Now, you note that Scott Palmer is listed as being in the right lane. There's been some shuffling in our run order, so that's why you're seeing some singles here and Haney was listed as being the last pair. From our vantage point, I can't tell if he's back in the lanes or if they actually missed the run. I did see him on the starting line walking around, so there's certainly, if there was intention to make the run, hopefully they're just back there and the order's just shifted off of our paperwork.
Well, see Brandon Schweitzer standing here behind Ethan Stedding, so maybe that's an
There you
indicator
go.
he's coming up. How about Ethan Stedding making the jump
Yeah.
from PDRA Pro Street up to Pro Mod? I mean, he had to join his dad. All the rest, he sees all his other people, Todd, Ty,
Yeah.
his dad, Kurt.
doing that
He's
too.
like, hey, man, I got to get in there with you guys.
PDRA Pro Street champion this year.
Yes.
Looking good, sounding good. 368.9 at 202. Speed off a couple of numbers of where you'd expect.
Little wiggle down at the finish line.
Man, he hit the tree for 009, so that tells you where he's at as far as the starting line attack mode. But for Stedding, 68 puts him within a half a tenth-ish to get in the field, but that's going to require all of it in the final qualifying session.
Yeah, getting some good laps in, though.
Yeah.
And just looking like a seasoned vet there.
He does.
And I don't know what happened to the finish line. Looked like he got out of shape a little bit. Clicked it early. Something, a veteran move for a guy like him.
And look, it's interesting because so many of these cars on good runs spend so much time with the front end up in the air. You know, that could have been a situation where you land and the thing's a little bit cockeyed and then you're almost behind it a little bit, getting it to across the stripe. You know, it could be a little extra steering going on. Here comes the Black Mamba of Keith Haney.
So we got nitrous on nitrous for this pair.
Jimmy Widener over there in the Bischoff Engine Services C7 Corvette.
Keith's got a new car. I don't think it's ready yet, or he wasn't ready to debut it at this event, but brand new C7 Corvette with that new Synergy body that we talked about.
And, you know, the reality is, as cool as it is to debut new stuff at an event like this, it really isn't the path to success. I mean, we love seeing the new cars anytime we can see them, but if you're coming down here to try to win something, that typically isn't the way.
And I think you could see new cars at the U.S. Street Nationals and at World Series of Pro Mod, but it's just too soon after the end of the season and in the off-season cycle that I guess used to exist for these guys to debut new cars at this event. I think as we go into the second and third, as you talked about, we've got, what, 6 weeks?
Yeah, you got some time
between this event and the U.S. Street Nationals. I think you'll see some new rides. Jim Widener, good shot looking down there as he purges the nitrous. Unique hood scoop setup on that car.
It is. I like the fact that, you know, Bischoff does his own thing and always has done his own thing with this car, and it's unique. We'll find out if it's quick enough to make this field. Man, both of them shaking.
And that's the perils of nitrous racing. I mean, it is unquestionably the most difficult combination to have success with out here. It's not only are you fighting for every inch in horsepower, but to make that power, then apply it and be consistent, also quite a challenge. But those guys, hopefully, especially like we talked about last night with Brandon Schweitzer, now what happened with Halsey, he'll be able to come back out. Actually, is that a chunk of?
Might be a tooth. Might have shaken one of his teeth out. Schweitzer, you know, is interesting. He took a very good long look at the marks that were left by those shaking tires.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to read that. As much as he's going to read the data recorder, he's also going to read those marks to kind of tell him what the tire was doing or not doing.
Pretty violent, you can see out on the track. We just talked about new cars. This is one of the new cars that's debuting here this weekend. This purple Camaro in the left lane for Rick Bailey.
You know, Bailey was doing that burnout. Did you see where the smoke?
Yeah, it was coming out the front.
Of the front of the car.
I was seeing things, I thought, but glad to hear you saw that as well.
Yeah, I at first thought it was an optical illusion, but it absolutely wasn't. And big Corey Swanstrom behind the race car. Justin, I believe, let the button go on this thing a couple of times in testing to kind of get the baseline set up. And DJ Cox, the standout longtime alcohol funny car racer from Maryland, on the opposite side of the racetrack, driving Nick Janik's, the Corvette that Nick Janik drove previously. Nick is also here in another Corvette, so I don't know if this is a rent-a-ride program or if DJ is diving into the world of Pro Mod drag racing more seriously.
I actually think he competed in Pro Mod at an event earlier this
Well,
year.
yeah, he ran up in, I believe he won the thing. He ran up there at Budds Creek.
That's right.
No, sorry, at Cecil. Jim's going to hang me. It was Cecil County. They did a $15,000 to win top alcohol race for the top alcohol dragsters, and they had pro mods up there. It was a fantastic weekend. Their normal streetcar program as well. There's like a nuclear arms race of John Deere tractors between him and this place now. They have, I believe I think Halsey may have 4 of them, but they got 3 of them down here now. In goes Bailey. Rattle, 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 both sides, just at different times.
I think we're starting to see that sun have its effect on the starting line. Guys that came up with a tune-up earlier this morning, now the track's getting too hot to handle that, but DJ Cox pulling over to the side. I did hear, I think it revved up as he started to shake the tire and lose traction and blew the burst panel.
Yeah, I think it broke the transmission when it shakes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I saw the burst panel.
But either way, I heard the same thing you did, which was massive RPM spike. So our pusher quad will come down the racetrack. Bailey, I think we're going to need a dual.
Yeah.
Might have to daisy chain him.
Bailey just nothing off the starting line.
Yeah.
We drive tech. We drive the industry. Going beyond the limits and advancing forward. A versatile all-in-one solution. We're here for you every step of the way. And that's why you see Fuel Tech everywhere.
Redline oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
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 Formulated to win, proven by me.
Unleash the power of performance with the Edelbrock Group. For over 85 years, our legendary brands have been trusted by automotive enthusiasts around the world. From street performance to racing, our innovative solutions, engineering, and testing deliver unmatched power, precision, and reliability. Proudly manufactured in our 7 facilities across the U.S., we stand by the quality of our craftsmanship. The Edelbrock Group, where passion meets performance.
We drive tech. We drive the industry. Going beyond the limits and advancing forward. A versatile all-in-one solution. We're here for you every step of the way. And that's why you see Fuel Tech everywhere.
Flying A Motorsports, #1 in toter homes and trailers in the USA. We offer an unbeatable selection of new and used race car trailers, stackers, car haulers, toters, and motorhomes. Ready for an upgrade to your current trailer? We accept trade-ins and consignments. We offer nationwide delivery right to your doorstep or factory pickup. Check out our inventory at flyingamotorsports.com. Flying A Motorsports, built on trust since 1988.
And we return to Bradenton Motorsports Park, the 54th Snowbird Outlaw Nationals presented by Motion Raceworks. A race with incredible legacy. I think that's one of the neatest things about the elevation of the Snowbirds into the Winter Series, and it kind of keeps building on what this race has always been about. It's been a premier event at this racetrack since it opened in the 70s.
Yeah, the 54th annual Snowbird Nationals, as you said. This is a long-standing tradition here, and that's something that Vic, Garrett Mitchell, all the owners of BMP, and all the staff wanted to keep that tradition and legacy, but yet elevate the event. And so tying it in with U.S. Street Nationals and World Series of Pro Mod just made perfect sense, and we've seen the fruits of that the last couple of years.
So this is Frank Valter. He is actually qualified right now, sitting 28. Car has gone 362.2. He's really one of the first guys we've seen that's in that can move up. We've seen really Jimmy Taylor about the only one that's punched into the field right now from this third session, but this is a guy who's already in, not comfortably, but enough that he can get faster.
Yeah, and it was the numbers that you talked about being able to bump up, those were very early in the session.
Yes.
We're getting to this really dicey point in the session now.
Same situation. They were closer than I think the last 3 or 4 pair we have seen. We've seen a lot of really violent immediate shake. That thing was almost able to drive through it.
Almost. Yeah, he did get a little bit further, but as we talked about just before that run, we're getting to the real dicey point of this session. It's like, you know, you're trying to move up. You've only got this session and one more after this. You need everything you can get to try to make this field, but are you going to be able to do it in these conditions? It's really tricky. And in fact, I just got word from race control that Jason Harris, our #1 qualifier, is not going to run this session.
Really?
Yes, so he's going to save everything and then swing for the fences.
Okay.
So that will be, and then with that run that we saw Jimmy Taylor put down.
Yes.
I also just got word, actually, next door from Steve Logan, they backed it down in an attempt to make it down the track. So that was their backed down run. So Harris saving everything to swing for the fences tonight. Jimmy Taylor tuning it up tonight. Wow. I think we'll see a bloodbath this evening.
that is going to be murderous as Vic Alvarez backs up the purple piston eater down here. Wright Trailer sponsored Camaro that he has raced and evolved his Pro Mod career in over the last couple of seasons. And Travis Harvey, the Carolina kid, the Holland Enterprises Red Top Motorsports car.
New look on the car, the signature Carolina blue.
Really good looking race cars. And for Vic Alvarez, the Pro Line turbocharged car, I mean, last year was really fun. We kind of lived this whole experience with him. He'd pop up here between runs, and the thing would be pulling the wheels at 300 feet. I mean, he's kind of living the life now.
Yeah, he jumped out here and just immediately went to the top. He was #1 qualifier for a bit, and I think he thought for a minute, all right, we can do this, man. I'm, you know, we're going straight to the top. Been more of a challenge for him this year, figuring it out. He's, you know, Vic's a pretty open and humorous guy, and he's like, we're just in the way out here right now. He called himself traffic earlier. We're just traffic out here.
Yeah, we're traffic.
But hopefully he'll get it figured out. Plenty of horsepower under the hood of that thing. With switch to the Hartz turbo.
Oof. A little bit of smoke out of the exhaust. I don't think there's anything to worry about there. Probably just suck a little oil into the turbo or maybe fuel or something. Either way, neither of them doing much of anything out there. And again, we went from the run that Falter made where the car was driving out, trying to drive through the shake, and neither of these had a shot.
Yeah, let's watch it right here. Just past 60 feet. Look at those chatter marks on the.
Oof.
That is dental work. That dentist right there, they'd love to see that because that's brutal. But Vic got out of it wisely early there. But we're really seeing this in this middle part of the session.
Yep.
You know, anyone that is able to make it down in these conditions and hopefully set themselves up better data for this evening. Also, the run order. I think that's actually probably more important at this time is where you're going to put yourself in the run order for tonight's session.
And look, breaking news, guys. You're going to have to race in this identical condition a minimum of a couple of times tomorrow. The later rounds will likely be after sunset. But there's going to be, I would say, obviously first, second, third round, you're going to be looking at a racetrack in conditions very close to these. So it is, I mean, yes, you got to qualify, but even some of these cars that are in the show right now, you're going to be able to get down to racetrack.
Yeah, and I think the race winners and the cars that go rounds, I would watch for this session. Who was already up in the qualified order and is able to make a home run hit in the nighttime session,
Bingo.
but then also make it down during the day. Those are the ones I'd have my eyes on going into tomorrow's eliminations.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to do, and it kind of goes against traditional drag racing strategy. Normally you roll in for qualifying and you want to get down. You got to make it down that first session to get your data, and then start chipping away, and you progress, and then you have a different, you pull back and have a whole different mentality for race day.
Yes.
But in this situation, I almost think you got to do that and then stop and go to your race day setup.
You have to
use that out here today to try to get down and perfect that. Then go back to your home run hitting nighttime setup for tonight. But it seems to me just the pressure, the amount of cars here, how stout this field is, guys are struggling to wrap their heads around that and back the cars down enough to make it down today.
So Melanie Salemi is currently 27th in the order. She ran 362. Meanwhile, David Reese across the racetrack, still trying to get his footing under him here.
You can see where Melanie's lined up a little bit to the left of the groove outside of those shatter marks where Vic Alvarez just ran it, but pointed a little bit to the right. So trying to get in some fresh rubber at the start and then drive in the center.
There it is. Side by side to the stripe they go. 371, 188 miles an hour. I think I might have heard a little thud. Like, I don't know if Melanie's car popped a panel or not, but Reese goes 384 at 194. So the early part of the run, stellar for both of them from what we have seen so far. The later part, they both fell off speed-wise.
Brand new car for David Reese that he's debuting this weekend. Previous best run 409. So still far off, but at least making forward progress.
Yeah, nothing untoward or bad looking. I mean, that shot, the drone shot right here is beautiful. Just, I mean, you can see all the shake that's been happening. Matt Deesh out of New York. Is that Cletus? We don't know. There's airplanes flying around. You don't know if it's him. By land, air, or sea, this guy can attack from any
I
direction.
thought somebody was going to jump out of that thing. What were we watching?
So Matt will be on a solo here. Brandon Pez was supposed to be next to him, and we know what happened yesterday to Pez's car, that just incredible tire shake that caused maybe more damage than even we knew about in the first place.
We'll see what Matty D can do here. The nitrous cars, we talked about that earlier. We saw both Haney and Widener shake simultaneously.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is a little bit of a advantageous conditions for the nitrous cars that they can get down today. But still just such a challenge to make the power and apply it in these cars. Matty D's had a lot of success down here during the Winter Series, and this is the guy we want in the field.
Listen, the guy
cutting promos
yes.
at the top end.
Yes.
So we'll see if he can make it happen.
Yeah, he's gold. I mean, at top end, the guy is gold.
And it's not an act. I actually ran into him in the airport after that, too. And I thought, this guy, there's no way he's going to be like I saw.
Right.
And he is literally the exact same.
Yeah. He wasn't sitting there smoking a pipe reading a novel. He's fired up at all times. See how this thing sounds leaving, if they can get the RPM and wheel speed where they need it, or if it's going to pull the tire down too much and shake. Wow. They called their shot, 372 at 201. Navigating the course is the victory there. A 10th off qualifying for the moment.
And just short of what they ran last night.
Okay.
369 with a 5 last night. So consistent. I mean, that's not a bad run from everything we've seen so far.
And again, he knew it was moving a little bit outside, but he also knew it wasn't moving enough to scare him. He was able to drive through that fact that it was trailing a little outside. But if you can run within a couple of numbers of what you did last night right now, that's more than most anybody we've seen so far can say.
Yeah, he's short of making the show right now, but that right there shows me that if he does get in the show, he's a threat on race day.
That is a confidence builder for sure. Aaron Stanfield and Nick Janik. Stanfield, the Elite Motorsports screw-blown entry. Talking about a guy who's been a factory stock showdown champion in NHRA, has been flirted with multiple Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series championships over the course of years. Will be getting in a top fuel car later this year. and is making his Pro Mod debut this weekend. Guy's living right.
Yeah, he is. Hooked up with Richard Freeman and the ever-expanding Elite Motorsports stable over there presents those opportunities for you. So, obviously, Pro Stock remains the primary focus, but then Pro Mod, I think Erica has maybe sort of preached the Pro Mod gospel over there in the pits, and Aaron heard enough of it and said, I've got to give this a try.
Yeah, the guy's he's a great, intense competitor. He's a fascinating guy to talk to. Obviously, the Stanfield Racing Engines business, that is a lot of what occupies his time down there in Louisiana. And Nick Janik out of Las Vegas, Nevada, the Redline Oil Chevrolet Corvette. Janik, the supersized HVAC contractor out there. People are like, oh, does he do like air conditioning and stuff? Like, yeah, for like Caesar's Palace.
That's a good business to be in Vegas.
Yeah, this is a guy who he's taking everybody's phone call, but he's taking the big one. Nothing doing out. Oh man, I thought Janik was going to be able to finish the trip.
927, 246. He was on a decent pass. Looked like maybe it was running toward the center line, and the wheels were still up. The thing was pulling hard. Had to get out of it.
And after what we saw last night, I think everybody's got that on their mind. So Janik lifted, not blaming him for that whatsoever, but early numbers were solid. Car should be capable of running in that low 60 bracket tonight. And for Stanfield, it was a multitude of factors, but mostly shaking tires.
Yeah, not a brand new car that Aaron Stanfield is behind the wheel of. That's actually the car that Ken Cortuccio ran in NHRA Pro Mod for most of the season.
Gotcha.
Before he jumped back into the car that we see him in this weekend. However, Erica is in a brand new car. So between the switch over there and then a new car for Erica, they've got their work cut out for him.
Yeah, that's a lot to sort out in a short amount of time.
Also a new car here for Sidney Frigo.
Yeah, really cool paint scheme, kind of course, blending those colors of his native country, Brazil. Art of Inco Racing is a nice kind of pearl in that paint as well. And how about Bo Butner? Brian Carratti-owned Gotham City Chevrolet. Centrifugally supercharged as it is. Butner, former Pro Stock champion, a guy who has won in, I believe, 6 different categories in NHRA drag racing.
Another guy that will jump in anything.
Yes.
So to see him behind the wheel of a Pro Mod is not too surprising. This is the car that Carratti debuted here last year.
Yeah, with Zach Sackman.
Yeah.
Sackman driving it. The one interesting thing about Butner over the course of his career, I've seen him do it now multiple times, that when he gets in a car for the first time, he wins. For instance, the first time he ever drove a super gas car at a national event, he won Sonoma. He's done it in multiple other categories. So the fact that it is the first time he's driven this thing in competition actually may be a leg up for him.
If he does that, it pulls off a win here, man, he is a badass. I'm sure he knows that stat, I'm sure, and he's hoping that pulls through for him.
Butner, of course, still trying to fight his way in. And Sidney Frigo, Killing Time Racing prepared machine. Frigo currently sitting 61st in the order. Great look there at the beautiful Gotham City Returns paint scheme for Brian Carratti. That is looking nice on both sides. 362.8. So Frigo goes in by 1,000th of a second and becomes the bump spot simultaneously. Butner smokes his way through the shutdown area, running 364.4 at 206.
Yeah, we were looking for Bo Butner on the sheet last night.
There he is. Okay.
Yeah, way up at 16th, and he's actually 17th now, 361. But what a run for Sidney Frigo.
Big time stuff there. That is what needed to happen. The speed of Frigo at 209.43 is what's going to save him here, because he ran the identical elapsed time as Shelton, who was the bump spot, but he had him by 2 numbers. So Sidney Frigo is now 32nd. Congratulations.
Congrats. You made the best run of the session, and you're on the bump spot. Congrats.
So Frigo will head around the corner. And look, even if you get bumped out at this point, that you just know, again, you know you can load the wagon tonight. That's the biggest thing you're trying to prove here, that you can load the wagon for that final session.
What do you think about this ebb and flow we see? So we saw several pairs in a row not be able to make the trip, and now it's like we've seen a couple pairs make it down, some decent passes. That we see this ebb and flow throughout this session.
So it's actually going to be Derek Menholt on the bump spot right now. Frigo went around him with that 362 is actually an 8. So he's now.
But just look at this little graphic we got here for 29th to 35th, how jammed up these cars are. And I saw someone, I can't remember what team it was. It was a multi-car team, and their social media account posted, hey, we've got our guys qualified 5th, 7th, and 38th, and they were separated by like 100th of a second. You know what I mean?
Wild.
And that's the situation here that you end up with this many cars that are capable of these kinds of performances.
So we got a tractor rolling down there, and what I'm guessing is past the finish line, there may be a very light mist that can be dragged out, if you will, with the flat drag. That typically is when we talk about the cleanup response here. No scrubbers have rolled, which is always a good sign. And
yeah, so, was it Butner's car
yes,
that we saw at the end?
Yeah.
Saw some smoke coming out of him. We were looking at Frigo's pass and looking at the numbers. But Butner, you were talking about him jumping in this car and having, or in the previous cars that he jumped into and had success, and we were looking for him on the sheet, and I just missed it last night. I didn't expect to see him all the way up at 16th
all the way up
last
there
night's session.
Yep.
However, we shouldn't be too surprised because that car ran well here last year when they debuted it. So that's a car, that's a dark horse to keep your eye on.
100%. And in eliminations, the guy is money in the bank at the starting line. That's always been his hallmark. And he's not having to do any stripe driving here. He's just going to be hammered down all the way to the finish line. I know those guys get parts depending on what they hurt there, and they do have ample time to repair this because for those of you just tuning in here on FloRacing, the way this day is going to work out, we are opening the day with our third qualifying session of Pro Mod here at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals presented by Motion Raceworks. And then we're going to close the day. So they'll have the entire middle of the day up until 6 p.m. when we start kicking off that final session or thereabouts to get their stuff squared away. What will be happening in the middle of that? Well, we have multiple qualifying sessions for the radial classes, for the true 10.5 no time guys, for the Pro 10.5 cars. We also have all of our index classes to qualify, the 460 motorcycles as well. Those things are cool. I'm actually really excited to see they're on the sheet. They bring a really unique flavor. They're fast and they're fun to watch.
Yeah, just like all the classes that we have here. We talked about when we choose the classes that we're going to have at these events, we sat down. We literally have a conference call, and that's what is cool about working with Vic and his team. Each year, it's not like, oh, well, this is what we've done in the past, and we need to keep doing it that way. We sat down and just with a blank slate, all right, we know we've got to have Pro Mod. All right, we know we want 10.5. What else do we want to do?
Yeah, build it around.
And we just started throwing stuff out, adding classes. That's how we came up with the lineup. And I really think it's a cool mix and just creates a unique vibe for this event.
Now, they are rolling a pickup truck down there in the shutdown, so I do believe there's going to be some spreading of the speedy dry down through there, which is obviously a much quicker process than we have when we have to clean up the actual race surface.
It's something to keep an eye on about that car as well. And I don't have all the details. I'm just kind of spitballing off my memory. But Zach Sackman was driving that in IHRA, the competition. Ran well, but also hurt some parts. I think he had a big oil down situation at one of those events as well. So it just tells me the car runs well, but they're running it very hard.
Very hard. And we'll be right back as cleanup action commences here at Bradenton. Stick with us. And we are back here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. The cleanup effort has been completed at the top end, and race cars have started up. You can see a lot of traffic down there in the staging lanes.
Yeah, it's building up. It's amazing to see these cars once they get them all stacked up, how far back this will reach. They actually call them in groups of 25 because of that reason.
Now here comes Mark Mickey. Mickey rolling up here, the M&M transmission, fuel tech, new look Camaro for him here in 2025, and Erica Enders will be across the racetrack.
Yeah, these are two of the cars that haven't performed up to their capability to this point, and ones that you really want to see on race day, right? I mean, to send Mark Mickey and Erica Enders home before race day is a travesty.
It would be a travesty. It's against everything we stand for around here. And for Mark Mickey, 380 is the best that car has run so far, and Erica Enders was on a run that was going to be close to a tail end of the field run early in the session last night. She's still getting comfortable with this car. She's never driven a screw-blown car. You brought it up last night. It's a great way to put it in perspective. She has now driven every single power adder combination of Pro Mod that's existed.
Which is wild to think about.
It is.
I mean, I don't know. I actually was talking to Lyle Barnett about this. Who else is currently active checks all those boxes? And I couldn't really think of anyone off the top of my head. And so it's weird to say that the queen of pro stock, that's been known for all of her pro stock success, is actually probably the only active driver that's driven every power adder in Pro Mod.
Wild. And she still holds the NHRA speed record on the run where the car was in flames at Norwalk, Ohio at 261 miles an hour.
Alex Laughlin was a name that was brought up because he's driven so much different stuff, but I don't know if Alex has driven a nitrous car. The fact that Erica drove a nitrous car, it was like 10 or 11 years ago.
But she did it.
But she did it, so it counts.
Well, listen, I'm sure Alex is paying attention. If you are, send me a note and let us know if you've driven a nitrous car of the Pro Mod persuasion. All right, let's see if either of these two can fire a shot into this field. It's been a rarity this session, but more than capable horsepower here on both sides of the racetrack. Big-time trouble for both of them. And you can see the collective body language on both sides of the racetrack. Frustration.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there with Erica's car. It seemed like it just...
I wonder if it broke the belt.
Yeah, it just rolled through the beam. Really did nothing. And then Mark Mickey, extremely violent tire shake. If we could see that shot of Mark, I mean, you could see it in this shot, the far shot of Erica, how hard Mark Mickey's car was chattering the tires.
As the camera comes around, there is still a belt on the supercharger. But yeah, she put it up on the two-step, and it just went nowhere. Let's look.
Yeah, watch Mark over here. I'm sure you can see that. Didn't look as violent in that angle, but man, as those turbos are spooling up and start applying that power.
Might have been an electrical, you know, when you go back on a blown car like that, you could look for a couple obvious things. It didn't pop. It didn't do anything really crazy. We could see the supercharger belt appeared to be still attached to the top pulley. So you kind of do your check down list of what the possible issues are. And I got to think that there's some electrical situation going on there. That's the only other thing I can think of.
And those are the kind of gremlins that you will always face when you roll out a new car. And that car literally left the Modern Racing shop, I think, over the weekend and came straight here. So that's, it's that fresh and that new. So with all the technology and how smart these guys are, they have the ability to be able to do that, to just take a brand new car within a run or two and iron it out. However, it's not an easy task, and I think we're seeing that a little bit right here with that team.
Here comes Kenny Lang and Steve King, the winner of the 2024 Drag Illustrated World Series of Pro Mod. An incredible race day for Steve King, an incredible weekend, and he has showed us that he is game for anything. This car is very good still.
Oh, yeah, and someone that I think could make a very representative run here in the heat. And that's kind of their signature. They're able to get down in a variety of conditions. It was much cooler, but really impressive performance at the Yellow Bullet Nationals this year. Won that race. And like you said, a tried-and-true machine at this point compared to the brand-new car over in the other lane for Kenny Lang, who's had some test sessions down here But again, a new car compared to the other 69 Camaro that he's had here the last couple of years.
Spencer I just came in with a great piece of information on the Erica situation. He said it could have been a quill shaft and a supercharger, which is, I think for a guy with his level of experience and haven't seen way much more of this stuff from a driver's seat than I ever will in 5 lifetimes, I bet he's 100% right on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
The Kenny Lang car, I'm interested to find out the lineage of this thing, but it looks like one of the Pro Mods that Mike Salinas had built a few years ago.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe this isn't. I mean, I don't know the like you said, the lineage of this car. I know it's a new to him car, but I don't know if it is a brand new car or. You may be right. If it is, it's a low miles, basically.
Low miles.
For all intents and purposes, making its debut.
Steve King.
There we go with King.
Smoked the tires when it landed 360 at 206 miles an hour for King. Goes to the number 13 position. Lang goes 369 outside the field. As impressive as the 56 was, and don't get me wrong, that was insane, but that right there, that's gold.
That's a beautiful run. I mean, if we watch a replay of that, that thing was hanging the wheels all the way down through there. Drifted a little bit to the right from what I could see, but that's exactly what we talked about. What that team is able to do throughout these variety of conditions that we face and what makes them so dangerous as we head to race day tomorrow.
Pay attention to this. We're going to watch this one more time. This thing, when King's car lands, it actually black tracks the front tires for a few feet. It is, man, when we talk, well, let's watch this again. Pay really close attention. Left side of your screen to King. Watch the marks on the racetrack. How incredible is that? Man,
that car, it's fun to watch that car because it's under control, but it is giving it all it's got. And I mean, they've been impressive. Chad Wright, John Salemi, Jeff Miller, that whole team that tunes over there for the Gene Pilot-owned machine.
Justin Swanstrom and Todd Tutterow. I mean, we had the same side-by-side during the second session last night, that multi-generational mix and match here. For Swanstrom, this is a new car. It is one of the Synergy Corvettes, modern racing. See the decals there, Big Corey Swanstrom behind the race car, Big Country. And Tutterow driving the Robert Abbott entry this weekend.
Yep, Swan Gang, Justin Swanstrom. These cars, these new C7s really do have like a beautiful carbon fiber weave to them. And so he's just decided to leave it exposed, at least for now, and put decals on it. It's a good look. And then Tutterow in a machine, I believe he won the 2019 Gator Nationals in this car.
And the interesting
in a final round against Stevie Jackson.
Stevie set the national record on that run and lost.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a wild finish to that race.
I'll never forget that. I was actually at the finish line watching and those cars come by, and it was epic.
So both men lock him down. Tutterow way up there. Tutterow drives it through 364 at 205 miles an hour. One guy in the property is making that run, and that's Todd Tutterow.
Yep.
You don't have a lot of guys that would have the intuitive knowledge to hang with a run like that, land it, and keep it in its own lane, but Tutterow just pulled it off.
Jumped all the way from a 372 last night. He was way down in the 50s or 60s. He knew what he had to do.
Yeah, and Swanstrom's car just did not get up on the tire whatsoever, leaving the starting line, and had that early shake that we've seen so much of.
Let's watch Todd as he manhandles this thing as it drifts toward the center, hangs with it. I mean, it's such a fine line between like what we saw last night with Jim Halsey. We crossed the center line. A lot of cars rode that area. And then we saw a lot of cars in the left lane drifting over toward the left wall. We saw a couple of guys hang with it, like Kai Kelly, make some really nice passes. Really towing that line, and then we saw it go over the line with Jeff Rudolph.
Yeah, the experience to understand you're going to land on the right side of the line, and then secondly, not to plug so much steering wheel in it, you put yourself in a world of trouble. That's how many decades of runs like that this guy's made. That's what it earns you. Nick Taylor, Jericho Balder. Nick Taylor, a great addition to this field, driving the Norton-owned Pontiac Firebird. We'll see the second Norton car here in just a little while with him in it. But I think, this for me is a great moment for Nick. He's done so much in the no prep side of things. His Uncle Sam Pontiac Firebird, one of the iconic, I would call, cars of that genre. He's lived the life. He makes race car parts for a living.
Yeah, he's got it going on, man. I mean, this is one of the things he hasn't done in his career yet. A late addition to this field, but in a little bit with all the shark-infested waters we've got out here, sort of an underrated story. But he's another one of these that we love to see thrown into this field and see what he can do. And looking forward to maybe getting his feet wet here, coming back through the other events of the Winter Series.
The Extreme Concrete car of Baldiff looking pretty good. As we go down to the top end, Taylor runs down a 377.1, 199, a little shy in the speed. Baldiff dips into the 60s, going 367.9 at 203.
Yeah, good improvement for him as well. Came into the session well.
Yeah, Baldiff, I think, it'll run a 68, so it's a mild pickup.
Yep. But to pick up during the day at all is a feat.
Yep.
So another one of these guys that you don't think about in that car. You know, it's been around for a while, had some laps on it. I think he ran NHRA with that car as well, so it's made the jump back and forth, but he's always strong here.
The Chemical Imbalance 41 Willys coming up right now. That is a really neat piece.
Yep, Casey Cato owned a machine driven by Brandon Plyler. These guys are from my neck of the woods, and we actually did the wrap on that car. It's a really cool design that those guys came up with there. Casey owns a civil engineering company, construction company, but he's really passionate about men's mental health.
Okay.
And so this car's got a lot of details in it that relate to men's mental health, and it's got a lot of cool details if you ever check out the car. This car has actually been through a number of different combinations. Nitrous car, now it's a screw blower car. So actually on the side of it, on the doctor's prescription pad, it's got prescription. It's got nitrous oxide, strike through, and then it's got methanol, check. Supercharger, check. So it's one of these, a throwback to the old school designs that kind of had these cool themes going on with it.
And Samuel Peterson, the young man across the racetrack. Peterson family continuing a multi-generational drag racing legacy, driving Joel Wensley's Liberty's Gears Camaro. An operational question. Is that body a lot harder to wrap than a modern? Like,
yes,
it seemed like this would be a lot more work than, say, a 5th-gen Camaro.
It is absolutely, because there's no hard lines on it. There's no seams where you can seam the wrap, and it's like wrapping a basketball or something. I mean, it's wild, but we got it done, and it looks awesome.
And for Samuel Peterson, it has been a nice outing for him so far. Looking to make it nicer. Peterson has managed a 366. Plyler has gone 369.
Yeah, this is a cool pairing. This is on both sides. I think these guys would tell you they're living a dream right now to be able to compete in this field. So really cool to have both of these first timers on the grounds.
Plyler's going to pedal it. Peterson is going to go 362.9 at 209.
It's a nice run.
A whisper away from being in the field, but in fine position for final qualifying this evening. Carrying a lot of speed down there, but he does have one chute.
I think that's one of those situations you're expecting both chutes, right? And so you're applying your normal amount of brake. Then you realize, oh, I've only got one. So I need to start to get on it more. But that was a hell of a run for the conditions.
Yes.
362 with a 9 at almost 210. So I think that they've got more in it, and we'll see what Brandon Plyler can do. That's actually an old Tommy Mooney chassis.
Wow.
That was I believe it was Terry Housley's Willys, if you remember back in the day. Red, yellow, awesome paint scheme. Barney Squires painted.
Barney Squires,
back in the mid-2000s that he competed in Quick 8s and IHRA, so that car's been around the block. But Tommy Mooney cars, they tend to live multiple lives.
Yeah, so many of these cars have interesting histories. How many hands they've passed through, how many engine combinations they've had, how many updates they've gone through. This is a mid-session refresh of the racetrack going on right now as you look down from Modern Racing drone. Not going to be a full-on re-prep of the racetrack, but it's just a touch-up, as that was the 20th of the 40 or 39 pairs that we will see in this session. Yeah, fascinating to kind of consider just, how much talent's out there, even on the tuning side. We often talk about it, but the gathering of racers is one thing, and then the gathering of tuning talent, just top to bottom, is just really phenomenal. You see the younger up-and-coming guys working with some of these teams, and then you see a lot of of course, the established names that are in that Mount Rushmore of door car, tuning, but they're all here.
Yeah, and it's funny. There's like a shortage of tuners for the most part, or these guys get so many people on their train that these guys, we actually have to park these rigs. We try to, for the most part, park them based on tuner groupings. So
it actually makes sense.
The tuners, and it's not an easy task, and we're not able to pull it off always, but we try to group, well, these are my guys, the Salemis of the world, the Brandon Strouds of the world, the Todd Tuteros, the Steve Petties. So this is my group of guys that I'm tuning, and I would like to try to keep them all clustered so I'm not running back and forth across the entire track, but it just goes to show you how important that has become, especially in this type of racing. You've almost got to be connected with one of these powerhouse teams and tuners to have any success.
Yeah, to have a developed combination, and it goes right down to the chassis parts that are being used and shock setups, and and this stuff does change. The drivers are all different sizes. You get some guys that are sitting in a seat that are fit and small, that weigh 175 pounds, and we got some full size orders out here driving some of these cars, and the dynamics of setting the chassis up is different for all that stuff.
That's an interesting point also. And I don't want to lose this shot here, but normally when you come to an event or a national event, by the time you're getting down to the end or over here in this area, down toward the finish line, you're getting to the bracket racers, the sportsman cars, or whatever. Your pro mods are going to be up toward the starting line. But this shot here, I want everyone to know, our pro mods essentially all the way to the finish line with some, the 10.5 cars and the other pro classes mixed in. But you're literally looking at the most extensive and impressive collection of pro mod machinery and rigs all the way the length of the entire facility at Bradenton Motorsports Park. And that's something that we don't take lightly, and are just overwhelmed and appreciative of all these teams that come out and support this event.
Yeah, and look, the other, one of the other hidden things that we don't necessarily think about because it's the workaday stuff of the sport, but the level on both sides of this racetrack goes on both sides here too, but the level of investment in just equipment. Just the trucks and trailers that have transported cars here, whether they're 650 index cars in the back of an older motorhome or tractor trailer trucks that are bringing this stuff in. Just that shot alone, if you start tabulating in the millions, you're going to rack up 10 digits really quick.
It's scary.
Really
I mean,
quick.
it is insane to see the amount of value just sitting at this facility.
Yeah, let's get a little update here as we are halfway through the session. Let's get a look at our qualifying order as we can kind of get a peek as to what's going on here. Jason Harris, 356.0, done under the lights. Jimmy Taylor, done this morning, 356.7. The speed, just a massive 223. Kai Kelly, we haven't seen him yet this session, ran 357. Gustafson at 357 as well. And you look at Weatherford, Curtuccio, Jeff Rudolph. Let's hang on this for a moment because we need to explain what's going to happen with Jeff Rudolph and with Jim Halsey. Basically, they will stay in this qualified order until the end of qualifying, at which time the number 33 and 34 qualifiers will be put in the field. Rudolph and Halsey will keep all of the qualifying points they earned. The racers going into the field will be given the minimum number of qualifying points, but they will be able to earn race day points.
Right. And that's the way we're going to handle it here, and it's unique because of the chip draw situation and how you don't have to sort the ladder.
Correct.
It really doesn't matter. We just basically pull those 33 and 34th cars into the field, invite them to the chip draw, and they're in eliminations for the next day.
Yeah, in a normal situation, if we didn't have the chip draw, you'd be talking about reordering cars and do they land here, but that leaves. Billy Banica, Ty Tutero, Steve King, those are your 11, 12, and 13 qualifiers. King with that great 360. Stevie Fast ran 360 with a 1 in that first qualifying session. Then you have Scott Taylor, Jim Halsey, Ryan Hayward, Bo Butner, Robert Davis, and Peter Norton, who is the car owner. We saw Nick Taylor driving with one of Peter Norton's cars. Callie Mills sitting 21st, 61. DeApril, Rivenbark, Glenn, Brandon Snyder, Decker, Holder, who just won the Streetcar Super Nationals out west, Melanie Salemi, Frank Falter, and Robert Costa round out the quick 30 cars. And then we go to Frigo and Menholt on the bump. But, man, 600s, man. 600s through 32 cars.
A lot of these cars have yet to run, so we've still got a lot to still see in this session. But some numbers that jump out: Samuel Peterson just put himself in the 33rd spot with that last pass, 362 with a 9. So he's right there.
Yes.
I expect to see that car. I think you're going to see Samuel Peterson crack this field this evening. Also, Steve King, that 360.
Yeah.
Actually improving and moving well. I think it was 13th that we saw on the sheet here to move that far up the field at this point. We talked about last night Ken Carduccio making his pass and putting himself up there in the top 5.
Yep.
How that was something that the rest of the competitors didn't really want to see happen.
Right.
I think Steve King going out and laying down a 360 flat here and moving himself that far up in the field here in race day conditions is also something that the rest of these teams would prefer to not have happen, because this guy coming off the World Series of Pro Mod win. Now, he didn't win the first 2 events. He didn't win the championship or anything, but he won the World Series of Pro Mod, the biggest of these 3 events, and that was the most recent event. So carrying that momentum. Then he had a couple big wins during the
regular
season.
Yeah.
So carrying all that momentum into this, I think we're seeing that happen here.
Yeah, and look, and as far as the Winter Series go, I don't want to see the Steve King story start and end at the World Series last year. You know, I mean, the World Series race typically has been this fountain of various winners, and some of these guys are guys that you would not have put in the maybe theoretical lead for a win in that thing. Would it be amazing if Steve King becomes the first guy to ever kind of double down in that respect? And does it become this moment where, as all the success we saw Ken Carduccio have in the winter of 2024, is Steve King, can he be the guy to have that level of success over the winter?
Yeah, that's a good point. We've never had a repeat winner of World Series of Pro Mod. We've never, since we've done the Winter Series, we haven't had a repeat winner of any of these events. So will Steve King be able to do that? And like you said, take that success that he's had. Spencer Hyde comes to mind. Several of these other names that have won that event. And then it's like, before he won that event, who is Steve King, really?
Yeah.
Now the whole world knows who Steve King is, and he's done a great job. It's like exploding out of his shell on social media and becoming a personality.
Yeah, no, the dude is entertaining.
Yeah.
Entertaining guy. His burnouts have been completed on the racetrack right now. It is Bubba Green and Dave DeMarco. DeMarco from just north of the city of Boston, the Beacon electric car backing his way up.
You know anything about Boston?
A little bit. I know about these guys. These guys have been staples in the door slammer world on big tires, small tires, and otherwise. Him and his brother Andrew DeMarco, very well known in our part of the world, and they have branched out and run various series and events over the course of time.
Well, from my part of the world, we've got Bubba Green and Scotty Cannon, legendary racer tuner. Out here, I mean, he's kind of, I don't know if we get a shot of Scotty. He's ready for Christmas. He's got the Santa look going.
There's a whole thing happening down there.
This is not a look I ever expected to see from Scotty Cannon. It's a little bit
shocking.
Yeah, it's like he's in witness protection or something right now. But Scotty,
listen, with that beard and a flat cap, there's some Santa Claus. But you want to talk about a guy who looks like a dude that you're going to walk into a pub in Boston and look at? Yeah. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, exactly. He's ready, man.
Like a guy in Southie.
Down there checking the wheelie bars right now. This is a new car for them this year. That they're, I think that they debuted it at the beginning of the year, ran some PDRA, ITRA events, and still working the bugs out of it. But when it does make the trip, it's been fairly impressive, and it's got a unique header setup. They've got it covered right now, and they've got the headers moved down to the normal location, but they'll play throughout testing and through the event, moving. They've got a different set of headers that exit right out of that side of the fender right there. So, yeah, they've got all kinds of stuff.
And they both have a lot of shake going on. It was the move immediately made by Bubba Green. His car, they had it set up a little outside, and it did not like that whatsoever. On the right side, DeMarco at least had a little forward momentum before it started rattling hard, but neither guy made it more than 150 feet. Another look there, and DeMarco's car started to dirt track just for a half a second as he clicked it off and coasted through.
Heat continues to build. I don't know what the weather is right now or what kind of temperature we're looking at, but it's any of that downtime we had, even just that, what was it, 5 or 10 minutes that we just had after that last pair, those guys are sitting back there just,
it's like a clock ticking, man.
Yeah, figuratively and literally sweating bullets because they've got the car set up a certain way, and they're even making adjustments as they're moving through the lanes and making the turn and pulling up here. But when something like that happens and you're the car sitting behind the water box ready to make your pass, it can throw you off for sure.
Ned Dunphy going to be coming up next with Rodojan Basato. Dunphy, as we mentioned, a really kind of emerging personality in this realm of drag racing. His biggest success so far on the drag strips has been his conquering of Hot Rod Drag Week in 2025. It is SMX-powered, turbocharged, SMX and Proline powered Viper that was displayed at the SEMA show this year. The Viper, which has zoomy pipes on it. It has 5 zoomies on either side. That throws people off all over. I mean, the thing is, it's pretty trick. This race car is trick as well.
Yeah, we talked to him about that when we had him, interviewed him on the show after his big win. And yeah, that thing is awesome, man. I mean, I was a big Dodge Viper kid.
Oh, dude, me
up.
too.
Dude, if you're an early millennial like us, man, there
yes.
was nothing better than the Dodge Viper. That thing is awesome. But looking to make the step up here in Pro Mod. And on the other side, Roderjan Bozado out of Brazil,
yes.
one of the international competitors that make the trip over here. He's actually supporting this event with his FT Injector brand this year as well. So great to have him on board as a competitor and sponsor with this event.
It is neat to build something as this Winter Series has become aspirational on that level. And because this style of racing is contested pretty much anywhere there's a drag strip in any country, there's somebody with a Pro Mod car or something close to it. It is neat how it draws people from all over the place. Dunphy has been 65. Bozado has been 67. Bump spot, 62 with an 8. Bozado will not complete the run, but Dunphy will. 370, 204 miles an hour. 9:47 60-foot time. They tiptoed it, I think, a little bit, but it worked.
I think so. I mean, they're one of the cars that, you know, oddly enough, haven't made a move up here in this last couple of pairs. They're about 4 or 5 numbers behind where they ran yesterday evening. But consistent. I mean, I know they're not out setting the world on fire, but I would take that in today's conditions, backing up my 364 with a 9 from last night.
Yeah, and it was just a nice, clean, straight, uneventful run. Bosado's car, you know, made a half a tire revolution before, or 2 tire revolutions before it started checking the tires hard. And so Bozado will go into qualifying session 4, trying to bust his way in. Greg Blevins Jr. going to be part of the next pairing. Schedule will be next to Mike Achenbach, who I believe is sitting back there. If not, it'll be Blevins on a solo.
Yeah, let's hope he is, because we're losing these nitrous cars one by one.
I'll tell you,
we need
an intervention or some sort of a exorcism, maybe.
There really does seem to be some kind of curse going on this weekend so far. Hopefully these guys can break through of that. And Greg Blevins on the other side, well known for all of his radio exploits in his burnt orange Camaro.
Yes.
Which actually is here. That's Steve Halperin's car that he's competing in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been wrapped Vampire Red for Steve. So that car went to him. And then this brand new car, this was actually a car purchased here recently, I believe from Khaled Al-Belushi.
Okay.
Greg Blevins bought this car. And then, so Greg basically upgraded. He sold the car to Steve, the radio car, and then bought this Pro Mod and is making the jump to come compete with us here in the Winter Series.
A check being made, as you can see our track official down there communicating on the radio down at the 8th mile mark, and it does appear the rotator is going out to maybe give this right lane a little touch-up. So there was something discovered out there, not a lot of anything, which is good news. As long as when we can handle stuff with the rotator, it speeds that process right along.
Wave, Brian.
Hey, look at us. Hey, Ma. Look at us doing the thing.
Luckily, you can't see us because we've got some tint on these windows,
Yeah,
which
thankfully.
we would be roasting up here.
Yes.
If it wasn't for these, I mean, me and you are not going to win any kind of tanning awards.
No. That's the good thing about this duo is that we both have the gift of paleness going on.
Paleness, forehead.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
We got it.
If we ever have the DNA broken down, we may have some sort of long lost genetic link.
All right, I want to see you at the family reunions in North Carolina. and I'll come up to Boston. They'll be like, what in the hell's going on
what are
with
we
this
doing
guy?
here?
Actually, while we've got some downtime, I wanted to pass along some info. I'm just pulling up social media here and actually see a statement from Jeff Rudolph on his page or from his social media manager, just saying that currently at the Blake Trauma Center, where the team is working to manage pain, his MRI is being reviewed. No change in his condition. More information around noon. So sounds like Jeff in some pain and just trying to figure out what else is happening there from that accident last night. We talked about that before we came on the air.
Yes.
Just these cars, and we just watched the video that Garrett Mitchell, Chris McFarland put up explaining
the layout of the top end, the
wall and everything. And I think just in general, and I always say this, all the safety equipment and everything is built for the walls, inside the track, and for the car to be right side up. When the car goes upside down, when the car exits the confines of the track,
all bets are off.
All bets are off, really, and those are the situations you don't like to see. So that issue where he got upside down last night, the fire.
And you think of the situation as too, when you have that shot, you're hanging in the belts, right? As opposed to being set down, you're hanging in the belts. And we're going to continue this conversation in a minute. But we mentioned yesterday, we have an expanded broadcast team during the Winter Series this year, specifically here at the Snowbirds. We have Kayla Morton. Of course, you know her, you love her from the Street Outlaws world, an incredible racer, drag racer herself, has been all over the place, all over this country, running everything and everybody. And now we got a microphone in her hand, and she is down with Lyle Barnett.
Lyle Barnett, one of the cars that we expected to see in by now. What's going on, and what is the plan for the last qualifier?
I don't know, but I wouldn't want to call Grandma and tell her about how we're doing down here right now. We rewired the car before we got here. We've been having trouble with this thing putting holes out earlier this year and decided it was time for a rewire. And I don't think it's the people that wired it's fault or our fault. I just think we've got something in this car that's just not happy. That's the first time I've been past half track, and it still started putting holes out and doing weird stuff at the top end. And we've burnt the motor up twice this week. It's had 6 pistons and 4 rods. So we're just trying to be careful, but to some degree we're a little bit fed up. And if it melts it to the ground, I don't think anybody would be too upset about it. But we came here expecting to run good too. Put a Hartz charger on it, and these things make really good power. So we've got everything there. We just can't quite figure out what the gremlin is, and we've got one more shot to do it, And by now, if you're behind this late in the game, it's going to be really hard to get in this show. These are the baddest MFers on the planet to drive and tune and crew these cars, and they're showing it. The bumps of 62, that's going to drop tonight. It could be a 60 flat, 61, which is pretty incredible when you're talking about 32 cars. But I got faith in my team. I'm not saying we can't do it. It's just going to be really hard. If you're behind this late in the game, it's just tough to make it up, But they put in a lot of effort. They finished at 2:30 this morning rewiring the fuel injection side of this thing, and I've got all the faith in the world in them, but it's going to be tough. So we'll see what we can do. We got one more shot to do it, and if anybody can do it, I think we can. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
That was going to be my closing line. You nailed it.
So interesting. And, Lyle's a guy who has always worn his emotions on his sleeve. That's why we love the guy. You're never going to wonder where you stand with him or what he's feeling like. And you can hear it in his voice. You can hear he's almost, in a way, it was almost like he was trying to talk himself into the idea of qualifying, but that's what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, totally brutally honest in that interview. And I talked to him and his dad at the party like I talked about last night, and they were talking about those exact issues that they were having. So good to hear that they tackled it and hopefully are working toward getting it sorted out. But as Lyle said, there's just not enough time left. You've only got one run left, and that's a really daunting task to make the jump that they need to make in just one session. However, it will be the best session of the day, possibly of the weekend. And
you're on this treadmill and you're barely keeping up, and then all of a sudden it keeps getting faster and faster and faster. So one guy who has dominated the treadmill, who made incredible headlines this morning, was Jimmy Taylor. Kayla caught up with him.
Jimmy, I was doing a little dance for you up here after that round. You had me worried all weekend long. Lost a little sleep over you. 356 with a 7, currently putting you at number 2. Are you relieved?
I am very relieved. I didn't sleep good last night. I mean, we thought we would come out here and make a clean pass earlier. It's just, we've had some gremlins in the car we've been fighting with, but we hope we've got them all worked out now. And, you know, I'm pretty excited about that 6 o'clock qualifier for tonight. You know, I mean, we're going to try to lay one down tonight.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
You know, the back-to-back of those two interviews, you got one guy who feels like he's walking to the gallows, and the other guy just slipped the noose.
Right. That was cool to see some street outlaws
Yeah.
love there between those two. Those two know each other well from that show and all the competition they've had there. But yeah, Jimmy Taylor, Lyle Barnett. That's what we talked about. Eric Enders, you know, Mark Mickey.
Yeah.
Some of these people we don't see in the show. Lyle Barnett, one of those names, and it would have been absolutely insane to see. This race kick off tomorrow without Jimmy Taylor in that field after everything he's done over the last couple of months. So that was that relief you saw, because when you go out and do what he's done in testing and in exhibition events and setting, just, you know, going out and intending to set these records, that puts a lot of weight on those shoulders.
Well,
And
yeah.
Now you could see that weight building after that deal with Stevie yesterday, not making it off the line. Now that's obviously going to hold. He's going to be way up at the top of the field, and he can start to think about tonight's session and race day tomorrow.
Yeah, and look, I think there's two other elements to that too, which is one of them, if he misses the show, it almost overshadows the race. You know, it's one of those things where if he wasn't in, that becomes a bigger story than some other things. But secondarily, every guy in the pits down there, they want to have a shot at him. They do. As scary as that car is, to win this thing and beat him is something that everybody here wants to pull off. And I feel like those guys that want their shot at him, clearly they're going to be able to get it.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens tonight in that session. He says he's looking forward to it. If they can string together 2-3 runs in a row,
oh boy,
that's going to strike fear in everyone.
Travis Harvey is a guy who's been striking fear into everybody for years, especially for his abilities on the starting line. Caleb Morton chatted with him.
A lot of people on the struggle bus here in Q3. What is going on with the track conditions, and what's your plan for Q4?
I don't know if it's all the track conditions. We got to go fast out here, so you really can't leave anything on the table. I mean, the bumps are 62, so you really can't go out there to push for 65, so you got to go. And the air's a little worse than it was yesterday morning. We ran good testing, but we're struggling right now. We got one more shot, so hopefully we can get in with that.
You can do it, Travis.
I hope.
Not only top in interview, also affirmational speak.
Yes, encouragement. That's good, man. That's what these guys need to hear down there. Yeah, Travis, he's one of these guys. He gets in race day, he's going to be a threat just for his driving ability alone. Same with Lyle Barnett, like we talked about. They did test well. They had, you know, the conditions were different. I think they were a lot cooler earlier in the week. They've been down here all week with that repaired and rebodied car since they had that incident last year. Mark Savage is actually behind calling the shots on that car as well. So they've got all the parts and pieces. They just got to put it together here this weekend and try to get into race day.
And look, there are times when, you know, your eyes lie to you a little bit in this sport, or things you see almost fool you into another kind of line of thinking. And Travis brought up a great point where he's like, hey, listen, what are you going to do? You're going to come up here and try to run 65 or 67? Yeah, you're going to see a lot of shake. You're going to see a lot of missed runs because everybody's coming up here with the thing, you know, loaded with some sort of atomic tune-up in it. And it's almost like when occasionally we'll get to a race where you get to eliminations and all of a sudden, oh, this is a one-lane racetrack. It's like, well, hold on a second. Who's been in that lane? Has it been are good cars not getting down that lane, or has it been the guys who barely scraped their way in a field and all the guys with lane choice have been on the other side? So, yeah, it cuts both ways.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Definitely not a one-lane racetrack. Definitely, as Travis said, not a racetrack issue. It's the fact that you have to lay it all on the line in this session, and this is just really not the conditions to do it.
We talked about Matt Deesh and the always electrifying conversations. Kayla Morton had another one with him today.
Matty D, tough weekend so far, backs against the wall for Q4, but I heard you got a little spunk in you, so tell me what we're going to do.
Well, I'll be honest, we're getting our freaking butts kicked in over here, but it's all right, because honestly, yeah, we're going to kill it next run, but we've been behind the 8 ball all weekend, and we got some runs that show some promise, but we've been missing it, to be honest with you, but the car has got in it to run the number, and we don't ever give up. And if you notice, last year, it took us to the last qualifier to get in, but it don't matter because we got it in us, and I'm going to kick everybody's ass if I get in. Or at least I'm going to try to.
You heard it here from him and his crew. They're coming for you for Q4.
We could just end the broadcast on that.
Hey,
you know what?
I'm glad we got a Matty D promo.
Yes.
We got it in, man. That dude is just a ball.
He's great. And then you got the accent on top of all of it. It's just that's the chef's kiss of the whole thing.
He started. It took a little while for him to warm up.
Yeah.
You know, he was a little quiet. Then he just went into it.
He drove through the shake. He drove through a little early shake, and he finished very strong. Rotator tractor finishing up on that right-hand side. Again, we had a little leakage over there. They're one of the last cars. Posado's car, I guess, was the last car down that lane, so that's why it's getting the touch-up.
And you talked about the schedule earlier, how these guys are coming out now, starting at 9:30 in the morning, then this large break.
Yep.
But it really, it seems when you look at your class on the schedule, you're like, why do I have this huge break? But with all these cars,
yes,
it takes, 2 hours to run a Pro Mod session.
Yeah.
Then you've got substantial car counts in all the other classes as well. By the time that 6 o'clock rolls around, there's going to be no downtime.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, and time flies when you're panicking.
Yes.
We talked about Steve King. You and I called him the man of destiny when he won the World Series of Pro Mod less than a year ago. Steve King is looking just as good as he did then now, and that's why Kayla caught up with him.
Steve King, a rarity here in Q3 to make it down, but you did it with a 60 flat.
Yeah, we were sweating bullets. You go 62 with the 1, and you're sweating in this field of bad cars, men and women out here getting it done. But, hey, John Salemi put it in there and kind of quivered a little bit, but she went right on down through there. This is like E1 for tomorrow, so we're happy.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on that pass.
Yes, thank you very much.
He brings up that most important point, just like E1 tomorrow.
Yep, that's exactly what we said when he made that run. And these guys have enough experience. They're probably tuning for that. They felt like they were on the cusp with that 62. They were able to go up and throw that number down with a 60.
Yep.
Less of a jump to have to make versus like a Lyle Barnett or a Travis Harvey that we just talked to. Those guys, you see that desperation on their face. They know this large swing that they have to make, not only today but tonight, whereas you're seeing the Steve King team just start to really narrow that gap.
Absolutely. And as we look at this list, and the real conversation for this would be tonight when everything gets locked down, but is there a Kai Kelly-esque figure hiding somewhere on these sheets of paper for qualifying? Is there that person that is good, is a great racer, but it doesn't necessarily look like the one you're going to follow through race day? Is anybody jumping out like that for you so far?
I don't know. It really depends on how you're classifying the Kai Kelly figure. I think Kai, last year, he's obviously got all the notoriety and everything, and the following and the name, but I don't think people were prepared for the performance of that car. And I think we're going to actually hear from one that may fit that bill.
Yeah, his name's Justin Swanstrom. Kayla caught up with him.
Justin Swanstrom debuting a new car for the Winter Series. Tell me about this new ride you got.
It's a C7ZR1 Corvette. We named it Survivor. It's kind of got the breast cancer theme going on with it. It's a badass car. I love driving it. We've only been a 69, so I'm happy with that, but I wish I could get in the field. We just shook the tires for the first time this week, so it's a very, very hot out, but we got one more round tonight to see if we can lay the cold to it and see if we can get in.
Thank you, Justin.
What a neat kind of evolution Swanstrom's been on. Loud and proud, too. He's not done it quietly.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. We saw the pink decals on that car. So breast cancer awareness, part of what he's doing with that car. So also cool to see. So Justin, he fits the bill is what we were talking about with the Kai Kelly thing as far as the name and everything. But it just doesn't sound like he's got the car and the combination where he wants it and where it needs to be just yet. But I certainly expect to see that from him soon. I was thinking about it as we were listening to that interview. And I got a couple names that I'm going to throw.
Okay.
Callie Mills.
Okay.
And Bo Butner.
That's a great point. The Butner point, the Butner point is definitely great. And for what Callie's accomplished this year, already a race winner in that car and qualified solidly right now, too. That's another great one.
Another one that maybe fit that bill, John Dock. That's a name well-known, social media, his following as well. Maybe no one's really expecting him to make the jump. He made the jump into Pro Mod earlier this year and has got some laps under his belt. But to be sitting there, I don't know where he is currently in the order, but he started the session 9th.
Yeah.
I think he's got that ability as well.
He came out aggressively, sits in there, and again, still a top half car if the cards kind of fall his way. And as we finish up our top end cleanup, we will see the Achenbach-Blevins pair. When we come back, they're going to finish cleaning up. We're going to finish paying some bills. See you in a minute.
We drive tech. We drive the industry, going beyond the limits and advancing forward. A versatile all-in-one solution. We're here for you every step of the way.